Imagine Horror Network, the official horror stories channel.
In a small town in the middle of nowhere, a group of kids gathered in their basement. They had brought with them a ouija board, which they had found at a garage sale earlier that day. They had heard all the rumors about the board being dangerous and could open up portals to the afterlife, but they didn't believe in any of that. They were just looking for a fun way to pass the time. They placed their fingers on the planchette and began to ask questions. At first, nothing happened, and they thought it was just a hoax. But then, the planchette began to move on its own. It spelled out words that didn't make any sense to the kids. They thought one of their friends was moving it as a joke, but then the board started to shake violently. Suddenly, the kids felt a cold breeze blow through the room, and the planchette flew off the board. The room was filled with a dark energy, and the kids felt like they were being watched by something evil. They tried to leave the house, but the doors were locked. They were trapped. One of the kids started to speak in a strange voice, and the others realized that they had accidentally summoned a demon. The demon claimed to be a powerful entity that had been trapped in the board for centuries. It promised the kids that it could give them anything they wanted if they agreed to let it possess their bodies. One by one, the kids agreed to the demon's terms. Their eyes turned black, and their voices became deep and guttural. They started to chant in an unknown language, and the demon took control of their bodies. The possessed kids started to perform a dark ritual that involved sacrificing small animals and drawing symbols on the walls in blood. The demon promised them that once the ritual was complete, they would become immortal and rule over the world. The kids wanted to feel like they were superheroes, but the demon made them killing machines. When their parents came home to see that they were possessed, they immediately called the town's priest to perform an exorcism on the possessed kids, but his attempts failed. The demon was too powerful, and it had already claimed their souls. The priest was forced to flee the house as the possessed kids chased after him. The possessed kids started to kill anyone who crossed their path. They used their new powers to levitate objects and control the minds of their victims. The town was in chaos, and the possessed kids were unstoppable. The town's sheriff and a group of armed civilians decided to take matters into their own hands. They stormed the house where the possessed kids were hiding and engaged in a brutal firefight. But the possessed kids were too powerful, and the demon made them kill anyone who stood in their way. In the end, the possessed kids were the only ones left standing. The demon had achieved its goal of making the kids immortal, but at a terrible cost. They were now trapped, doomed to burn in hell for all eternity. The town was left in ruins after they suddenly disappeared, and the story of the possessed kids became a cautionary tale for generations to come. No one ever dared to play with the Ouija board again, and the house where it all began was sealed off and left to rot. But some say that on quiet nights, you can still hear the whispers of the possessed kids, calling out to anyone who will listen.